Hey guys, how do fallen Avengers communicate with each other?
How's
I
that?
don't know how.
Snapchat.
Oh man,
That's bad. That
what
was
an
really
app!
bad.
What an app and
You
a
know,
joke.
with that joke, you plunked the Mind Stone right out of my head forever.
It's
Not that
gone.
it would take much. Hello, everybody, and welcome back. It's another episode of the Real Heroes Show. Got Corey, Nick, and Kevin, and we are here to discuss WandaVision episode 4. We interrupt this program. Pretty apt title, I'd say, for this one. So,
Yeah.
boys, just to get into it, like last time, Dancing with the Stars style. Kevin, 1 out of 10. What do you give this episode?
I'm going with an 8.
Another 8. That's two eights
Another
in a row
8.
from you, I believe.
Yep.
It is.
I'm nothing if not consistent.
But hey, you know what? If you can be anything, be consistent. That's a
Yeah.
pro tip from the Real Heroes here. Nick, what
Yeah.
about yourself?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with an 8 as well. I know that's a second time in a row I'm giving one of these episodes an 8. You know, it could maybe be an 8.5 at the most, but I think 8's fair.
Okay.
So
What about you, Corey?
yeah.
6.75.
6.75. All right.
Damn.
Yeah.
An
I didn't
extra
all right, I know
an
that's me
extra number on there.
being the grouch or whatever. I didn't want to go down to like a 6 because I didn't want to be too harsh on it, but this one was my least favorite of the 4 so far. I think.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, which we'll get into in the likes and dislikes. But speaking of those likes and dislikes, if you guys both gave it an 8, Nick, I'll start with you on this one. What about the episode got it to an 8 for you?
Um, I think one of the Easter eggs I liked was in the I guess at the beginning portion, when Monica is back at Sword, and as she's going towards the elevator or door that she couldn't initially get into, on the wall was a plaque of her mother
Mhm.
that said Maria Photon in quotes Rambeau. And we can get a little bit more about what photon means. If you already know from the comics, great. If not, we'll explain that a little bit further in like the next video. But I like that they included in there. I like the beginning part. You know, the whole blip. Seeing that from Monica's perspective and pretty much a bunch of other people's perspective, how that really affected everyone, literally. And because we really didn't get to see that much in the movies. We kind of saw a glimpse of it in Spider-Man: Far From Home,
Mhm.
but this is a little bit of a different perspective from another
Yeah,
important character.
a little bit.
You
Spider-Man
know,
played it more for the humor. This played it more
yeah,
for the seriousness.
serious. You know,
Yeah.
and I kind of loved how everything was so chaotic in the background, but the camera is just fixed in on Monica and the doctor that tells her about her mother, that she's been gone, and so forth. Um, I guess I like that Darcy's back.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, because I think Kat Dennings is great. So I kind of like that her comedic presence, you know, kind of sprinkled around the episode. Um, uh, Maybe a little bit unrelated to it, but I just love that they chose Jimi Hendrix as the outro music.
Yeah,
That was one of the
good.
biggest things. I was like, "Fuck yeah, Jimi Hendrix! Come on now, you
And that couldn't
cannot
be
be a
cheap.
fan."
Music
Yeah,
rights are
exactly.
expensive, so
Yeah, no, and I'm sure they have plenty of money for it, but
Yeah.
um, yeah, I think one of the highlights of this episode for me was how the gaps were filled in from this episode to the previous 3 episodes. Again, giving us this different perspective on what they're seeing on the outside compared to what actually happened or what's happening on the inside from Wanda's realm
you mean
or
like
her little
the
bubble.
edits on the TV show?
Right. So we
Okay.
don't see the
Yeah.
glitches. We don't see the rewinds. It's almost a little bit different. Like she says no, like she's like, you know, no. And she's still standing there as the beekeeper sword agent is just kind of chilling there. Um, you know, we're also seeing how Wanda threw Monica through all the houses and the walls back out through the energy shield um, into the same clothes that are
Yeah.
in the 70s, even though we all saw her walk into the energy or get sucked into the energy field in, present, whatever, 2020 or 20, is it 2020 in this time frame?
2023.
Oh, okay. So yeah, so
So it's
2023
post Endgame.
clothing.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, I think those were probably all my likes for the episode.
Was there anything you didn't like? Or are you just going to
Um,
let me have all those?
I mean, I think I don't know if it's a real dislike, but it's there's still a lot to be learned, and there's still a lot to be uncovered,
Okay.
unveiled with it. So I was kind of hoping we'd see a little bit more. So I'm kind of curious with 5 episodes remaining, how quickly or will they move through what's actually happening?
Sure.
I thought we might see a little bit more from Source perspective as to like they kind of know what the threat is, because apparently from Darcy, they have no clue what's going on.
Right.
So it's almost like, okay, well, you guys got 5 episodes left to figure it out.
Sure. Cool. Kevin, what about you?
Well, that covers a lot of it.
Sorry, Kevin.
No, it's fine.
How long is this video?
we each gave it an 8, so it stands to reason that we have similar things that we liked about it.
Sure.
What I did like actually was that we got a different perspective. We got to see what's going on the outside.
Mhm.
We got to see, like you said, Darcy's back and Jimmy and all this kind of stuff. We got to see
Yeah.
how the different pieces are working together in the real world now that Shield is gone and things are moving forward and all that kind of stuff. It's not really something that we've gotten to see so far. Sword is like thriving apparently and all this kind of stuff, and that part was really cool, and we got to see all of that without any spoilers.
Yeah,
we
absolutely.
still don't know what's going on.
Yep.
Because they don't know what's going on. So
Yep.
did it explain a couple of things? Yeah, but mostly what it did was give us some extra information that we didn't know that we didn't know.
Right.
So it's I thought that was pretty well crafted in the way that they show us who Monica is and why she's in there and all that kind of stuff. Also, I like that it explained why at the very end of the first episode you see somebody, Darcy apparently, watching the show. Just a little bit of callback on that, which was nice.
Yep.
And again, without them really ruining anything, what I didn't like was that they did it in such a way that they didn't move Wanda's story ahead at all. So we got 1 week of no actual Wanda story.
Right.
And now I understand why they did it, and I understand that we got 3 weeks on and 1 week off. And it is more fun probably that way, to show us those 3 weeks first than to weave all of this stuff in
back and forth
every week. Right. So it's kind of a catch-22. I mean, I don't like that I didn't get any Wanda story, but at the same time, I wouldn't have liked it the other way anymore. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I can agree to that.
Yeah. What about you, Corey?
Well, we'll start with the likes, because the things that I liked, I absolutely loved. The cold open is probably top 5 Marvel scenes that I think they put to film so far. The visual effects that they used showing her unsnapping and going back to normal was like, holy shit, this is a TV show. Like, you have to put out of your mind that this is not a major motion picture that is on a big screen. Like that, those are incredible visual effects. And then just the chaos, the gravity of the scene, the fact that she comes back to the exact same place she was in. She thinks her mom is still alive. She thinks her mom had a surgery to beat cancer. But her mom actually died 3 years ago. Like, that's a huge thing. That also puts into context part of why Carol Danvers wants to kill Thanos so badly in Avengers Endgame, because she knows that Marie is dead. She's got to know, right? And they were best buds, back in the 90s. So that's pretty cool. Just really, really good stuff. Super sharp.
Yep.
And then the end was also flawless. A horror type image that you don't usually see from Marvel with spoiler alert, Vision is still very dead, as they made sure to tell you
Yes.
a couple times in this episode. But for that split
Yeah.
second where Wanda breaks from whatever place she's in and she actually sees the all grayed out Vision dead behind the eyes, Infinity Stone plunked out of his head, that
Yeah.
that could not have been better. And like it actually made me
I
like
agree.
sit back, which is like holy
Oh
shit,
yeah.
that's
Yeah.
awesome.
It was
And
super creepy.
yeah, which I just didn't think that Marvel would go there. They haven't
Yeah.
really done
Yeah.
a ton of horror in the 10 or 12 years they've been doing this, so it's pretty cool to see
Mhm.
that.
It was also nice to see somebody actually refer to Vision and go, he's dead, right?
Like
you
dead
know,
Yeah.
that's
dead.
yeah.
Yeah,
And that's the
exactly.
first time, at least in this series, that anybody has actually called attention to the fact that he shouldn't be there.
Yeah.
Right.
As far as what I didn't like, uh part of me just really loved the the heartfelt, like warm hug that was the sitcom stuff. So to like jump into full 239 widescreen Marvel stuff was like, oh man, can we go back to the Brady Bunch? Because that was just like, while it was ominous, it was still super fun. But the
Right.
the real issue that I had with it was, and I get why they do it. It's a show that is built for and catered for a mass audience and people who don't follow comic book lore, and that's fine. But this episode felt a little bit like hit the audience over the head with these are the correct answers for where we're at so far,
Yeah.
instead of just trusting that the audience can go there with you.
Right.
Which again, it's they play it safe because it's Disney and it's Marvel, but I would have preferred, to let that mystery hang for a little while longer. Unless, it's an unfinished product. We haven't seen the whole thing yet. That could be a red herring. The thing at the end with Monica saying it's all Wanda. It's not all
Right.
Wanda. I don't think there's a
Yeah.
chance that it's all Wanda. But the other thing that just kind of got to me a little bit, like Kevin had already mentioned, the show is called WandaVision, and the two best parts of the show, bar none, have been Elizabeth Olsen and Paul Bettany, and we
Yeah.
didn't really get much of them in this episode. And
Yeah.
Right.
their acting has been so phenomenal that
Stellar. Yeah.
when they weren't in it, all of a sudden it was like, oh man, this is a weaker show without those two people in it. So um,
Yeah,
yeah.
honestly, it felt a little bit, and don't hate me for this, it felt a little bit Agents of Shieldy,
Hmm.
um,
Yeah. Yeah. It did.
without them in it. And I guess that's kind of what you're left with when you take the organization of Shield or the organization of Sword or even just the MCU itself, and then strip out the heroes, and
Yeah.
all you're left with is bureaucracy and
Right.
organization and cops, basically.
Yep.
Like it's kind of it is kind of what you're left with. But I'm not sure that I'm the hugest fan of that format, which is why
Yeah.
it's that delicate balance between should they have woven it into the episodes before, or should they have done what they did, or should they have saved it all for a grand reveal at the end. But
Yeah.
regardless, I still liked it.
Yeah. No, and I'm not saying it was like a bad episode. It just was, to me, the weakest of the four that we've had so far.
Sure.
However, I did think it was absolutely hysterical that Jimmy Woo, who is played in Ant-Man and the Wasp as the idiot FBI agent that
Yeah.
Ant-Man keeps evading while he's on house arrest, and Darcy, who is the basically like the gopher for Jane Foster's character in the Thor movies, that
Yep.
the fandom and critics on a whole had kind of said they're the dumb characters, they're the stupid ones that are there for comedic value. Marvel was like, oh yeah, guess what, they're you, audience. They're the
Yeah.
ones that are trying to guess and figure out what's going on. And even the shit on the whiteboard was like, is Vision alive? what time and space is this? Why
Yeah.
sitcoms? And it's like
Why
every
the
YouTube
hexes?
video, which I thought was completely hysterical. They were throwing shade.
Yeah.
They knew what the fans were going to do as soon as the show came out, and they built it right into the show, which
Oh
is
yeah.
Yeah, they
really hilarious.
predicted it before we even had the chance to, or people had the chance to think about it.
Yep.
You know, like what are people going to think about these episodes up to this point?
Yeah.
But
You
it's
know,
also really cool that we got to see them some more, because even though they are kind of the comic relief, they're also still interesting characters, played by some very talented comedic actors. So
yeah,
it was fun to get some more
Yeah,
screen time with
and
them.
it gave them a
yeah.
chance to be front and center, which in the movies, facing facts, that they're never going to get to do that
It's hard to get
because
that
they're always
attention.
going to be overshadowed by the people with the superpowers. So,
Right.
um, but speaking of someone who doesn't have any superpowers yet, holy shit, Tiana Paris is so good as Monica Rambeau.
Yeah, dude,
She
she
really
killed it.
is.
She killed it this episode.
I don't know what kind of contract they signed her onto, but I hope it's for a whole bunch of films because she is very good.
Well, we know that
She's very good. Yeah.
she's going to be in Captain Marvel 2.
Yes.
So we already know that, but yeah, I I'll save a thought that I have for our theory video
Okay.
Yeah.
regarding Monica, but yeah, dude,
Subscribe. Turn on those notifications.
yeah,
Don't
dude,
miss that video.
she killed it, and I think the saving grace for this episode, and maybe another reason why I ranked it a little bit higher is even though we didn't get a lot of Elizabeth Olsen and Paul Bettany, Tiana just. I mean, this is all about Monica because the last thing we see after episode 3 is her getting shunned out of the energy shield, and she's just all like, you know, she has no clue where she is or what just happened until we see it happen in episode 4. Um, but it kind of, I don't know, like it's going to be interesting to see what they do with her. But for this
Yeah.
episode, she was great.
I think we could see them kind of setting up another spin-off show that's about Sword. Like they had one about Shield, they can have one about Sword,
This is
and
possible, yeah.
they're casting their team right now.
Mhm.
We can have Darcy and Jimmy and Monica and have them going around and kind of investigating all these weird phenomena that are happening, and that's
Yeah.
probably very watchable kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
for
you're
sure.
also going to get them in the Secret Invasion show because I don't know if you guys noticed it, but the same whiteboard where they had all the questions, there was one that was cut off on the left hand side, and it says something like "Who could be doing this?" And one
Yeah.
of the answers underneath it literally said the word "Skrulls,"
Yep.
which means that all the people in that room know what Skrulls are,
Mhm.
Yep.
which is a very interesting connection to make. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
imagine Tiana Paris's character with Ben Mendelsohn and Sam Jackson in that Secret Invasion show.
That's gonna make it even better. I think the other thing about Sword in general, because we were talking about it, is Sword sus at all?
Yeah. What's with that?
I mean, like director Hayward, the conversation between Hayward and Rambeau about the sentient weapons, and it's like she mentioned something. It doesn't. I don't see anything about creation.
Creation.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. What the hell is that all about?
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of curious to see where that might lead. But I think we could see something like a Sword spinoff. I don't know if they're bad guys or anything like that right now, but I think uh, their true intentions are yet to be seen
Hmm.
in all this.
Yeah.
And I kind of wonder, what Hayward might be up to as the acting director.
Yeah. I still have
Hail Hydra.
PTSD of Shield. Exactly. The Hail Hydra
Yeah.
stuff. Like the Winter Soldier thing, that sits like back here rent free
Yeah,
in my
absolutely.
head whenever I'm
Yep.
watching all these. Like even the establishing shot where they kind of swoop through the Sword headquarters, it felt a lot like the Shield headquarters from Winter Soldier.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like I got a lot of vibes on that. So
Yeah.
Yep.
yeah, I don't know. Any other final thoughts from the two of you before we wrap this one up and make everybody wait for our theory and speculation video?
This episode actually set me up to be even more um, excited about this next week's episode.
To get back
Yeah.
to
You know,
sitcoms. Let's
yeah,
do
Yep.
it. 80s,
you know,
baby.
I want to see where we go with this. I
Yeah,
want to
man.
see,
80s
what's
and
happening
90s.
next. And now that we know a little bit in the back of our head about like what's happening outside of the bubble, when you see things inside of the bubble, now they might have a little bit more context to them, a
Yep.
little bit
Yep.
more gravity.
Sure.
So instead of being just cute or ominous, you'd be like, oh shit, that might be X or something like that. So
X, you
Yep.
say? Like X-Men, perhaps? Hmm?
could
X.
Hmm?
be.
Toasty.
I'll say the one last thing for me is I think we've almost seen everything from the trailers up to this point.
I think
I think
so.
maybe after this, I think after this next episode, we might get caught up if they go to the 80s when it looks like they're trick or
Halloween.
treating
Yeah.
Halloween with Vision in his old costume, Scarlet Witch, or Wanda in her Scarlet Witch costume. So, which is really cool because I think the last 3 episodes again might be stuff we've never seen yet in trailers. So,
I hope so.
I'm excited. It's gonna be fun. I think.
Hell
Yep.
yeah, man. Cool. Well, that's going to wrap it up for this one. Guys, we would love to hear your thoughts and your comments. We have not had many comments yet, so leave those comments. Let us know what you thought about this episode. Did you like
Talk
it?
to us.
Did you not like it? Are you ready to go back to sitcom land? That's the stuff we're looking to hear from you. Please make sure to go ahead and like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn on your notifications so that way you never miss another one. Look out for our next video later this week where we will be going into our theories and speculations for the next episode and the remainder of this series. And until next time, it's all Wanda.
Or is it?